Dr. Mukherjee recently saying that if there is a drug or antibody, it should be produced in India. Just trying to understand what that means. What are you trying to say? Do you believe that the Indian medical system will throw up the drug, the vaccine?
Well, it certainly can, but right now, what the effort has been to find the best candidates and license them so that they can be made in India. And by licensing, you essentially approach. We have a consortium that we've created and has existed for a while. And licensing essentially allows us to bring that drug candidate to India to produce it, because if it's going to be an antibody, the world's capacity to produce it will be stretched because of the number of people that are involved. So everyone will have to pitch in. As I said, these are made in vats. You need a lot of training to make them. You need a facility that is certified to make them. So it's not just a trivial production. And certainly everyone is involved. There are Indian scientists, there are scientists from Korea, from the United States, and everywhere involved. The hope is to take the leading candidates, whether it be the antibody or the small molecules, and try to produce them in India or import them in India. Importing is harder. Usually the prices are out of range of what Indian citizens can even pay. So right. the better model is to license it and have the license for India alone. And that can be done. It just takes time.
Let me, interesting question from Naveen Bhardwaj, and I'm looking at the present now, not looking at 12 to 18 months when hopefully, as you said, 20 months from now, we might have a vaccine. Naveen Bhardwaj asks, what is the best strategy for this pandemic? Is it targeting herd immunity while deploying a new treatment, example, plasma therapy, to avoid fatalities? Or is it simply, as most countries are doing now, staying locked down with minimal economic activity? Is there...
Well, so first of all, there's no one solution, because it's a combination of solutions, and it'll have to be phased in, and this is why preparation is very important. There's a lot of different opinions on this. Countries can only stay in lockdown for so long. So why are we doing a lockdown? Well, the point of the lockdown is that, as I said, if you don't do lockdown, the virus spreads exponentially. I gave you a number that's a shocking number: 40 days with full contact, and you get some number multiplied by 10 to the power of 17. More than the world's population by 100-fold. I should say more than the world's population by several thousand-fold. The point of the lockdown is to decrease that R0 value. It's to decrease, everything is to decrease the R0 value, because right now we don't have a therapy.
Right.
So a lockdown is basically a decrease of the R0 value. Now, why do you want to do that? Because that way we don't overwhelm the hospital systems, because the only care that we have available right now for sick patients is supportive care. We don't have a medicine. And if you overwhelm the hospitals, the situation becomes like Italy or like Spain, where basically every hospital was totally overwhelmed by patients. By locking down or by shutting it down, you smoothen the curve or lower the curve of the spread of the infection. Now, there are many strategies to get out of a lockdown. And there's a lot of debate about this. I have my own opinion about it. The first thing that I think that has to happen is that the only conditions where we can get out of lockdowns are, number one, testing. So test and detect and figure out what the real numbers are of the rate of infection, so that you can find out whether this is a pandemic in this community, this is a pandemic everywhere, this is a pandemic located in certain places in Delhi or certain places in Mumbai, or is it all over? So that's one. Number two is quarantine and isolation of people who are virally infected, and that needs to be enforced. And that can be done using all sorts of technology. It can be done with low tech, high tech, however you want it, but it can be done. The third is masking. So you can lock yourself down, in your house, but you can also lock your respiratory system down. And by that, I mean, you can prevent the virus from coming in, and you can also prevent you from spreading the virus to other people.